I'm 22 years old. I'm married. I'm a husband. I'm a father. And I'm scared to death. Season 1, Episode 1. That's what we're doing right now. This is Tim Charles Hey Dad Podcast, Season 1, Episode 1, where we get to talk about all things dad. Welcome to the Tim Charles Hey Dad Podcast. We are here because you matter, because everything about you as a dad matters. In this first episode, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. We're just going to spend some time talking about Tim Charles. Why are you doing a Hey Dad podcast? What is so important about this podcast? Why do you think it matters? I want to dive into some of that just by telling you my story, because I think it's your story too. That's what's interesting about this podcast. It's going to be my story, but we're going to find that my story is going to be your story. The things that I've gone through, some of the things that has happened in my life, maybe absolutely some of the things that happened in your life as well. And I want to talk about my journey and how did I get here to this place of a Hey Dad podcast. So let me just a little bit about me. I'm not going to deal with me too much because you're the hero in this episode and this journey that we're on. We're going to make sure that you're the hero. I'm just going to be the guy to make sure that you're the best that you can be. So I'm going to interview myself. Let me see, how would that sound? Ask questions, provide an answer that you think everybody want to hear. Okay, that's how I think we're going to do this. All right, interview question number 1 for Tim Charles Hey Dad Podcast. I think it would sound something like this. So Tim Charles, why don't you tell me, why are you doing a Hey Dad Podcast? What motivated you? Where's this inspiration coming from? I think my response would be something like, I was born to be a dad. I think the Lord put me on this earth to be a father. He put me on this earth to do and to be a few other things, but one of those things are definitely to be a father, to be a dad. At the age of 22, I became a father. I married my wife. Let me back up, because I don't want all of those smart mathematical people out there just doing the timeline and putting the equations in place. I'm going to make sure I have it for you. So I met my wife. We were in college in our early 20s. I saw her and I knew that we were going to end up being married. So we got together in college. We ended up deciding to get married. We had one child, my oldest, my daughter, and we had one on the way. This is early 20s, one child, another on the way. We decided to get married because we wanted to make this union everything that we thought it should be at the time. We wanted to make it right in the eyes of God and our friends and our families. So we decided to get married. And that's what we did. We got married. My daughter was in arms. My son was baking in the oven, as they would say. We got married. I'm 22 years old. I'm married. I'm a husband. I'm a father. And I'm scared to death. Have no idea what I'm doing. Some of that, though, that fear of being a dad had more to do with not having a blueprint, not having a father in my life that was showing me and teaching me all the things I felt like I needed to know. What does it mean to be a father? I mean, what is the definition of a father? What does that look like? My dad was not in my life as much as I wanted him to be. My mom and dad ended up separating and getting divorced, and I was probably 9 years old, somewhere around there. It's amazing how your memory kind of is more blurred during those times as well, because you don't really know exactly what's happening and when, but you know something is happening. And if your story sounds like my story, no one is talking to you about it. You are not a part of the conversation. You're not a part of the decision making, but you are absolutely thrown in to a situation that's way beyond you and that you're going to have to try to deal with and understand. So let me say this out loud. Your life is just not the decisions that you've made. Your life is also the decisions that other people made for you. Yeah. 8, 9, 10, 12, 16, 20, 25. Whatever the age you are at the time, you had something traumatic happen in your life. Sometimes that traumatic happening is not because of decisions that you made. Sometimes those events are based on decisions that other people made for you that now you have to learn how to navigate. And there I was trying to figure out how to navigate my life without a dad in my life. Had no idea what that was about. But there was one thing that I was familiar with, and that was the emotion that it brought. I was angry and bitter and upset about something, just didn't even know what. But there was this anger that was there. There was this bitterness that was there. There's also this longing desire for a relationship in the presence of my dad. There was this longing desire. There was something in me that wanted, I would even go as far and say needed my dad. Having my dad was one of the things that really helped shape this ideology that I had of what a man looks like, what a father looks like. And I absolutely know that I needed my dad. I needed my dad. Because I remember moments of my dad that stay with me to this day. So let me just say this out loud again. Not again, but let me just put this on the record. My father's no longer here on this earth. My mom is no longer here on this earth. I'm not worried about any backlash or anyone saying anything about what does your father say about these things that you're saying about him? What does your mother say about these things that you're saying about your father? Both of them has gone and have lived their life, and now they're on the other side of glory living with Jesus. At least that's what my hope is. I know my mom is for sure. My dad, we have to talk about that one a little bit. I'm not quite sure what's going on with him, but we gonna hope. I do believe that he's with Jesus. I'm just saying that. I'm just saying. But either way, there's no backlash. There's no concerns about what I need to say and how I need to say it. I'm free to say it because it's going to be true. So my dad wasn't there, but there was moments I remember having with my dad as a child. And he gave me some ideas of a work ethic early on. I remember my dad getting up early in the morning, 4:35, 5:30. And he would go to work every morning. And he worked for the railroad. We lived in in East St. Louis, Illinois, right on across the river from St. Louis, Missouri. He would go to work every morning, 4:35 in the morning. He's up, out of the house. I remember those moments. I also remember the moments on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays. He didn't have to work, but he was still up very early. That was my time. That was a time I had to spend with my father and knowing who he is and kind of relating some things. So the work ethic was put in play because my dad would get up on Saturdays and Sundays and he would clean up the entire neighborhood of any litter and trash. Yep, that's what we did. And guess what? I loved every bit of it. Every bit of it. Absolutely loved it. Why? Because it was time with my dad. We would make our trash pickup sticks. I remember it vividly. We would spend some time in the backyard, in the garage. I don't know where these stacks of old broomsticks came from. I just know we had them. So we had these stacks of old broomsticks and we would cut the end off. My dad would nail a nail into the end of it, hammer a nail into the end of it. We would cut the head off the nail. And now we had trash pickup sticks that we would use to pick up the trash, the cans, and the litter throughout the neighborhood on that Saturday morning. After we would do that, we would end up going to breakfast somewhere, getting some treats. I remember one time in particular, we went to pick up donuts. And we went to a donut shop in the city, not quite sure where, but I remember going to the donut shop. I remember taking my water guns with me. I had these little bitty water guns that I had, and I couldn't have been no more than maybe 6 or 7 at the time. But I remember filling my water guns up, putting them in my pocket. And if you know anything about water guns in the 70s, they always leaked. Let me just tell you right now. Probably put them in my waistband, which meant I probably had wet shorts. But I didn't care. I had my water guns with me. We're at the counter ordering donuts. My dad is talking to the person who's serving us. I pull my water guns out, and I'm just squirting over the counter a little bit. And it was small water guns. They were small where it just kind of felt like Jesus was spitting on you a little bit. Nothing major. Nobody got soaked. No super soakers here. I'm squirting over the counter. And I could see the person serving us just kind of looking around and up, trying to figure out, is that water? Something is dripping on me. But not quite certain because they're kind of focused on making sure that when it was all said and done, we get our donuts and we're out the door. After 2, 3, maybe 4 times of doing this, my dad recognized that was me with my water guns. I can remember this clear as day. He looked down at me. He laughed, chuckled. He told me to stop doing that. Apologized to the person in front of us. And it was just another moment with my dad that I can remember getting donuts, the smile, the laughter, the time that we spent together. Can't tell you too much about the ride home. I can probably tell you I probably ate some donuts. We'll just go with that. Probably ate some donuts. But this is a moment in my life that I can recall having an experience with my dad, the work ethic and the reward. The work ethic and the reward kind of came out of that. And again, I'm 6, 7, maybe 8. I am thinking I was more in that 6 or 7-year-old range. That's how important it is to have a dad in your life and the things that you can learn from that dad. And that taught me a major lesson. One of the things that it taught me is that we have a tendency to glorify learning by experience. Kind of hype it up, we glorify it, make it part of our personal story of not having anyone there to show us anything. We learn some things the hard way. We learn some things by experience. I want you to think about something, though, because I've come to the conclusion that learning by experience is the default of not having a dad present to teach you something. Sit with that one for a second. Learning by experience is the default of not having a dad teach you something you may want to know, something that you should know. That something could be anything. But having a present dad or having a dad in your life, part of the responsibility of that dad is to teach you something that you don't know. And that kind of leads me into the next question I think I would get if I was interviewing myself or I had someone interviewing me. What is your definition of a dad? Here's my definition. And I'm going to talk about a dad from the perspective of positioning. It's a very powerful word. Dads are in position. Another P word, to provide. Another P word, to protect. And another P word, to be present. Dads are in position to provide, to protect, and to be present. In some essence or in some sense, which means you can be a dad in so many different ways. But positioning, protection, providing, and presence, in some sense of the word, is how I would define a dad. Where are you positioned to protect? Where are you positioned to provide? And where are you positioned to be present? From that, we get all over the place. So that leads me back to why I'm doing this. I truly believe God has placed me on this earth to be a dad. I do. Among many other things. Dad is definitely one of them. I'm the father of 3 of my own children who are all adults who are doing amazing things. I'm crazy proud of them. And then I've also been blessed to have godchildren, to have some spiritual children out there. Some people that call me dad because in some essence, in some sense, they see me in position to provide, protect, and be present in some form, in some way of their life. So that has put me in a position to be dad to them as well, which I absolutely honor. But those are the steps. Those are the things. Those are the positions that Hey Dad is going to be about. As a man, as a father, as a child, what are the learning impacts? What are the types of things that you have to learn? And wait, get this. What are the things that you're going to have to unlearn because of the power and impact of your dad? Whether that was through presence, absence, maybe your dad is no longer here. Maybe your dad is here, but you identify him as dead. Those are the things that we're going to spend some time with on this podcast. Each episode, we're going to dive into a little bit more what it means to be a dad, dads doing their best, and the children that didn't know it, even though their best may not line up with what your expectations are. So I need you to do this for me. I need you to make sure that you tell somebody about this Hey Dad podcast. Talk to you a little bit more about how did I get here. And we're going to talk about that journey of being the dad I'm called to be so that you can be the dad you're called to be. I need you to make sure you share this. Tell somebody about it. Share with your sons. Share with your father. Why not? Share with your father. There's maybe some things here that he's going to get to learn too as well. Why not? We're going to have a conversation about it. This is not a dad that knows everything, but this is a dad that's willing to learn everything. I'm Tim Charles. It's the Hey Dad podcast. Let's go.